Hello Patreon friends. I'm settling in for a weekend of watching the US Open, one of the four majors. And the term open refers to the fact that anyone, if you're a good golfer, can enter. It doesn't have to be a professional. It's not a part of the PGA Tour. I think it is, but it's actually administered by the USGA. And the equivalent in the UK, which is usually in July, I think this year it's at Royal St George's, is administered by the R&A, the governing body of golf for the rest of the world. The USGA covers US and the R&A covers the rest of the world. They collaboratively make the rules of golf and administer those two Open championships. Wonderful. The US Open has the reputation for being the most rigorous because the greens are extremely fast, the courses are long, the fairways are narrow, and the rough is long, and it's a grind. So usually only a few strokes under par is going to be the winning score, and most people, of course, are over par. Amateur golfers play in it. Usually there's 6 or 10 of them in these tournaments. They have to qualify, and there are qualification rounds all over the world prior to these championships. The British Open, called the Open, is the one that's probably the most international in flavour. There are usually 100 different nations represented in the qualifying rounds and many dozens of different nations represented in the actual championship. It goes back hundreds of years, 130 odd years, something like that. And there was an instance of a champion golfer, Bobby Jones, actually winning it. He won it several times in the 1920s. In fact, in I think 1930, he won the British Open, the US Open, and the British and US Amateur Championships, and it was called the Grand Slam. And of course, Tiger Woods has done the professional Grand Slam of winning the PGA and the Masters in the same year as the British, and in the same 12-month period as the British and the US Opens. And so these championships require a great deal of precision and strength. And when you hit a golf ball out of that rough, it's important to know what the ball's going to do. Now, if you have the strength to hit out of the rough, they can hit actually an iron all the way to the green. For the rest of us, reality is you hit to get back into play. And you'll see champions doing that all the time during this tournament. They just can't reach the green if they go in the rough. Apparently there are 3 different types of grass there at Torrey Pines, and it depends a little bit on which one you get into. But what you'll see champions do is open up the club face, because usually the blade will turn and the neck gets caught by the grass, so the club actually closes, and so it goes left. If you're in the left rough, the danger is that you end up more in the left rough and keep ending up in the left rough. So my experience was always to take at least 1 or 2 clubs more than I needed to get to the target and grip with the club face open, anticipating that it would close it slightly, and just aim and swing straight and hope that I could grip firm enough to not have it twist too much. So look for that. And you'll see that in the afternoons particularly, which is when the leaders are playing, that the greens get very bumpy and fast. And so if you miss the fairway at all, it's very much harder to get spin. Spin is what gets you to be able to stay on the green. And so they'll start bouncing off the edge of the green and be left with a difficult chip shot. So very challenging conditions, and can't wait.